Welcome to this week's Raid Tournament Sneak Peek Preview video. Each week on either Friday or Saturday, I will provide these videos to let you know which tournament is arriving on Sunday. I'm able to do this because we are in the third cycle of repeating events, so as long as Small Giant keeps this circuit of tournaments happening, these videos will be accurate. In this video, I'll share this week's tournament, discuss defense strategies, share the winning defense team from the last time we had this tournament, and lastly, I'll give some insight into the defense team that I'll be utilizing. Let's jump in and check out this week's event. We're looking at a 3-star bloody battle with all elements available. As this event is a bloody battle tournament, that means there's no healing or resurrecting. This includes any hero that adds health or regenerates HP. They will not be able to do that for this tournament. This event, after all, is bloody. Now, another player told me that after the last bloody battle video that fighter class heroes still revive from their talent. I have not seen that personally, so I'm not banking on that. If anyone knows this as a fact, I'd appreciate a note in the comments. It would be fantastic if there was video proof that this actually occurs. Until I see it, I'm not believing it. Regardless, there is one small trick around the no healing, and that's using what I call cheater healers. What is a cheater healer? That is a hero that summons minions. Minions are basically meat shields that can absorb damage, which protects our heroes. Since minions can be typically summoned over and over again, it's like adding some level of healing. That said, this might be a good time to consider any hero that summons minions. As this is a 3-star event, that only leaves 2 options, Kvasir and Rudolph. Kvasir has proven himself to be absolutely awesome in these events, so I strongly consider him for this week. In fact, I will be using him. Rudolph is tied for the 3rd highest attack of any 3-star hero, so he's often an interesting hero to consider. Although there are only 2 3-stars that provide minions from their specials, there are other ways to make this happen. Nordri, who's from the Jotunheim realm, calls up an ice giant minion for all of his allies when he's killed, so that's a way to sneak minions in. We can also get minions through any emblemed druid class hero. For the 3s, that includes Malia, Jarver, Costume Friar Tuck, Brienne, Belith, Kvasir, and Costume Gunner. I would rule out Friar Tuck and Belith as they're primarily healers and not much value for this event. On defense, I prefer Classic Gunner over Costume, so I would not recommend him either. That leaves 4 worth considering. At the top of that list would be Malia. Malia is one of the most important 3-star heroes on defense in these tournaments, so she should always be considered. Always. Kvasir, as we've already mentioned, and it's a shame that he summons a druid minion because it gets in the way of his own minions. He is also somebody worth considering. Brienne is a worthy consideration for a support hero in this event and in most events. She's always a viable option. That leaves Jarver. I've not used that hero much, and I'm a little bit turned off by a hero that stacks specials and needs 10 specials to get to the max stack. I can't imagine any hero has ever fired 10 specials that many times in a tournament battle. That's not to say that Jarver is not worthy of consideration. He may be terrific, but does not fit my playstyle or strategy, so I will not be using him. Other specials that are worth considering in a bloody battle are those that protect your team from taking on damage, as there's no need for healing if they've never been hurt. The heroes I'm talking about are the ones that provide taunt, riposte reflect, or dodge evade. For 3-stars, there is not currently any hero that provides reflect or riposte. There are not any that have dodge, but we could consider rogue class heroes that evade if they have emblems. There are only 4 3-class rogue heroes: Agnes, Carol Costume, Dawa, and Carver. I'd rule out Agnes because of her terrible health, which is awful in a bloody battle. Only Muggy has worse health than Agnes, so she's not a consideration to me. Dawa, well, it's Dawa. I don't see her as a real option for any 3-star team in any scenario, at least not until her costume comes out. That does look like it's going to be a great costume, by the way. Carver, he can be an interesting hero because he attacks all enemies and reduces their mana. I have a different solution to reducing their mana, which I'll get to with my team. Now, I am a fan of Costume Carol. In addition to being rogue, he also hits hard and adds dot, that damage over time, which we're going to talk about in a moment. There is only one 3-star hero that provides taunt, and that is Shrubbearer. If you have him, he will very well be a strong tank for this event. I would also recommend considering any hero that increases your team's defense and or mana generation, and likewise any hero that reduces the attacker's defense or mana abilities. Second to that would be attack increasers. Lastly, damage over time heroes can be great, as even if they're killed, they're still delivering damage to the enemy that can't be healed in this event. Two other things worth considering in a bloody battle is how stout our heroes are. If we use heroes with high defense and high health, they can absorb more damage before they die. Secondly, speed is important. We are most likely taking on some amount of damage every single turn, so time is of the essence. Looking at the past winners of 3-star bloody battles, we do not see any slow heroes with the exception of Gunnar, who is one of the best, if not the best, 3-star tanks. Now let's check out the winning team from the last event. Their team power was 2932 and featured these heroes from left to right: Pixie, Brienne, Botchin, Malia, and Tyrum. Botchin is an excellent choice for tanks, as he cripples the attacker's mana while giving a huge boost to their own mana. I mentioned that Gunnar is a top 3-star tank. Looking at these two in the last event, 3 of the top 5 used Gunnar. The other 2, including first placed, used Botchin. One of the Gunnar tanks was flanked by Botchin, so they were both in the top 5 on 3 teams. Malia is no surprise to be on a winning team, as she is often in the top. In fact, she was on 4 of the 5 top teams last time. It'll be interesting to see if that changes with Kvasir now being an option. I know I'm going to be choosing him over her. Tyrum on wing is no surprise, as he's Old Faithful and is often on great teams. Brienne, as I mentioned, is always worth considering. I was surprised to see Pixie on the number 1 team, especially with a Botchin tank. That seems nonsensical to me, as Pixie cuts the mana of the enemy and does damage when they reach full mana, but Botchin works to prevent that from happening. I don't see that as good synergy. I don't think this is a good combination, and I would not recommend it. Kudos to the person who was able to win with that, but it doesn't make sense to me to have one hero that's cutting the enemy's mana and another one that does damage and reduces their mana if they reach full mana. They're working against each other. It's not a good tug of war on a team, in my opinion. In looking at my own team choice, I will share both the team I used last time, since it had A defense all week, and the team that I'm going to use this week. Last time around, I had a team with a team power of 2925. It included Malia, Bjorn, Gunnar, Botchin, and Menissus. It clearly included 3 of the heroes that are seen on most of the top teams at the time: Malia, Gunnar, and Botchin. Menissus and Bjorn were simply strong hitters to fill out those elemental spots. Alright, so let's take a look at the team that I'm going to be using for this week's Bloody Battle All Colors. As indicated, Botchin is going to be one of the strongest tanks. I was very successful and had A defense all week last time with Gunnar. I just want to go ahead and give Botchin a try. I'm going to be doing a mana attack on the enemy here. So Botchin as tank deals damage to everybody on the opposing team. He reduces their mana by 20%, and then all allies get this huge boost of 24% to their mana generation. So my hope is that Botchin will be reducing their mana, and then I have Chochin on flank, who also reduces their mana generation by 24%. So I'm hoping to win a mana generation war here. Chochin is also doing some damage to 3 enemies. On the other flank, I have Carol Costume, who is maxed emblem, so that Rogue will hopefully be kicking in and he'll be evading. He has a 20% chance to evade. And he is also doing damage to 3 enemies and providing the damage over time. So if he gets wiped out, he'll still be hurting them. Bird in Costume has much stronger health and defense than the regular Burden, and he gives the enemy defense down for 6 turns. Now, I wish he was hitting more than 1, but he's my sniper, he's fast, he's going to hit hard and give that person some defense down, which I assume will get wiped out by one of the other heroes that are attacking. And then in the last wing spot here, of course, we have Kvasir, who's going to be providing meat shields to everybody with these minions, and anybody who has had death by Kvasir knows what it's like to be swarmed by his bees. So that's what I'm running this week. Let us know what you're running. Feel free to post it in the comments below so myself and other viewers can comment on your proposed setup. For this upcoming tournament, I hope your defenses are sturdy, attack strong, and the tiles fortunate. Thanks for watching.